is going on, true believers? The biggest bag that I have is DEVVE. I'll tell you that right now. And I remain committed to DEVVE. The roadmap was just announced today. We just received it. And to say that I'm underwhelmed would actually be an understatement. And I'm going to show you why. I have not lost faith in DEVVE at all. In fact, I'm going to continue to accumulate, and I'm going to buy more because I do believe at the end of this rainbow, there's going to be a massive, explosive price action move, the likes of which you've rarely seen in cryptocurrency. Now, I've thought that it was going to happen for a long period of time. It annoys me that it has not happened as of yet. I'm going to take you through this process. I'm going to show you what I think, and then you can decide for yourself. So make sure you hit the like button on the way in, and let's break this down. We're going to do the good, we're going to do the bad, we're going to do the ugly. Now, this is the dev ecosystem roadmap. Let's focus first on quarter three. Quarter three, the idea here is to have the ecosystem project foundation and testing infrastructure, which is core development standards and test frameworks established for eco. So testing. Public shard launch. Public shard launch is also for testing. The DEVVE white paper update is also to tell you what's going to happen maybe in the future, what's going to happen there. DEVVE and Dev Exchange updated websites. I mean, it's going to be blue. So, and it's also supposed to be just really slick, really nice, really clean. But it's just a website update. And then institutional partner integration strategy and architecture design. System architecture finalized with key institutional partners. Now, what does that mean? Nothing. That's just something in the background that you're not going to hear about. Shouldn't be on the roadmap, or at least we shouldn't be talking about it being on the roadmap, in my opinion. I understand what they're saying, but they're trying to show you that they're doing something. And the reason they're trying to show you that they're doing something is because, and let's focus on quarter four. CASP and VASP licensing. This is regulatory approval secured to enable compliant growth and institutional access, which is important. And then you have this one, and this is the kicker. This is the one that matters to everybody. The announced institutional exchange partner. Major partner revealed with a joint campaign to validate platform credibility. And that is huge. That is, by the way, what everybody is thinking about. Now, I think I know who that is. I will show you in just a moment who I think that partner is. No change, by the way, if you already know, so no spoiler alert. But then you have DEVVE integration with DevX S2. The DevX S2 transaction utilized DEVVE, further driving usage and volume. And then lending and borrowing live on DevX, and then the platform V1 launch. So, and by the way, I don't know that you're looking at this as a quarter four roadmap, because we're talking about October, November, and December. Now, some of you might be saying to yourself, October, November, December, that's going to be the end of the bull run. Yeah, probably, but their timing is not great or not optimal in this regard. However, and this is very important, okay? It doesn't matter whether we're on the upside of the bull run or the downside of the bull run, when this institutional partner is revealed, it is my belief that we're immediately going to run up to around $10 to $12. We're going to hover there for a short period of time, and then we're going to see a breakout to a $5 billion market cap, which is about $50 billion. That is my guess right now, based upon the strength of the partner, which I don't know for certain, but I think that I know. And I think that I know for one specific reason, and I guess I'll reveal it to you. But before we do, the final is onboard bailment partners, INN service enhancement, wallet identity and user onboard system, document and user system, asset management and structure, production infrastructure and scale. So there's a lot of things that are out here in the work, marketing platform launchers, plenty of different things. We haven't seen a hide nor hair, reward multipliers, token drops and liquidity. There's a whole lot going on. None of that really applies. The only thing that matters right now is that institutional exchange partner. That's where the growth of the token, which will be a coin, I think, at that point, comes into play. Now, who do I think the partner is? In this video in 2023, in November of 2023, I revealed that NASDAQ, this is my estimate of who the partner is. NASDAQ was going to oversee BlackRock Ethereum ETF. Now, the other part to this video that I didn't express here or that I won't express here, but that I expressed in there, was very simple. That NASDAQ was going to do specific things. They were going to open up their own exchange, and it's going to be an institutional grade exchange, and that they were looking for a partner, and that it would launch sometime in 2025. Okay, that's what we heard at that point. Now, flashing forward to about February of this year, the statement that was made by Devi, maybe even January, the partnership, they used the exact wording from a news article that's in this video that you could actually, you'll be able to go to and see. So they were, I am pretty sure that the partnership here is NASDAQ. I have nothing here to confirm. I don't have an inside source. I don't know for sure. I don't have any, but based on everything that I've received so far, in terms of, tea leaves, if you will, I do think that it's NASDAQ. So it is my belief that that runs it up to about $50 in market cap. Now, if it's not NASDAQ, then that market cap will probably be a little bit less, depending. I mean, it could be Dow Jones, but that would be out of this world. I don't think that's really true, because that's not the tech area NASDAQ is. So I think that it would be NASDAQ. Anything less than that would move the market less, but still significantly. So let's just operate under the assumption here that it's going to be NASDAQ, and that they're holding on and they're taking so long because these things do take time to get worked out. Now, what does that mean for the price? Well, let's go look at the price. Currently trading at 57 cents. Now, we've seen a nice spark here from 40 cents a couple of days ago, up back into the 60% range. So in the event that you accumulated around 40%, then you've got about a 50% gain. However, there are plenty of people who have accumulated over here, and they've lost a little bit of faith. So we're going to see some shaking out over the next little while. Now, what I want you to focus on, though, however, is the most important part. And the most important part is we're not getting aggressive moves towards the upside. This, in fact, after this little move here, and by the way, when we look at this long term, you should still be bullish, okay? But in the short term, what we've seen is downward momentum every single time. Well, now we've seen the first trend upward. It looks like we're starting to get upward momentum. Now, if that is the case, then it's going to require a breakout. Now, where is the breakout trajectory? Well, the breakout trajectory is right here at 70 cents. Now, the reason that I bring that up is we're going to zoom out here just a little bit. We're going to move around, and we're going to use a volume profile over here. And what we're looking at is we're looking at where is most of the volume traded. And that's going to be right there. You can see that. That's why this thing is a big mountain right there. And that's where the start of that big mountain right there is. One's at 70 cents, one's at 90 cents. Those are going to be the spots where we're going to need to clear in order to become bullish. Okay, so what I'm seeing right now is a move on the 50 MA starting to head upwards. We need more breakout velocity. And then this right here is the 200 MA, and it's coming down kind of like this right here. So, and it looks like it's going to take a long time to get to this ratio where we have an actual breakout. Okay, so taking that into account, this is the last time we had a golden cross. When this yellow crosses over this purple, that is called a golden cross. It's the 50 and the 200 MA, and these are big deals institutionally, because what it does is it really sends a signal that this is your entry point. Okay, and then this ended up being, I mean, again, if you just go back and look at it from this context here, you got the crossover at 30 cents, and we ran to $1.80. So we're getting back into that trajectory right now. You can see how far apart we were at that point right there. Almost the same distance right now, a little less, a little more like this right here, but that's the shape of it. Okay, now here's the other part. The other part is what we're looking for when we're looking for a trend is we're looking for upside momentum, and it looks like we still have upside momentum, which means basically what we're doing is we've got new holders and older holders who are now holding bigger bags, and that's price go up. That's why we're holding at this level. Now, the question is, can we break out above? Well, in order to break out above, we're going to need that 70 cents, period. And that is because that's where the biggest realm of volume is. Why is that the case? Well, it was because of this trading volume that ran right here for a while, and because it was the resistance at the top over here. This was These are the spots that are important in when you're trading, and where is the volume. And again, the volume is up here at 90 cents, a little bit above 90 cents, but we're looking at the bottom end of that, not the top end of that. So what I would suggest is that if we want to break bullish, in any way over the next couple days, we need to visit 70 cents, the end right there. Now, as that comes down, and this will start to circle up very quickly, like this right here. If this circles up very quickly, then in a couple days we could be looking at an absolute breakout moment. But right now, it looks like it's going to take a little bit of time. When it does, however, boom, you're going to get a big breakout, or you should get a big breakout. Now, that takes us through the end. By the way, we're talking about July, August, September. So if I were to, just kind of parse this out and say, well, we get a good move going forward, we get a little price action, we get a nice little pump here, and then this one slows down like that. Then you get a pump, and it comes over here, and at best, you're probably looking at the end of August. So you're looking at 30 to 45 days before we get a golden cross, which, by the way, let's go back here, starts to line up with some of the things that are happening here in the third quarter, okay? Now, again, going back into this, we get that crossover, and then we get a nice bullish breakout. And if we looked at it and we said, if we just get the same kind of breakout that we got before from our bottom to our top, and we look at that as another bottom, then we're looking at a move up here to the all-time high between $2 and $2.25. Now, that is an anticipation of a big move. I would suspect that we won't have that exit velocity, and most likely we're going to get clipped right around $1.80. But that's just conversation right now. I don't know that to be the case. This is me just kind of guessing where that's going to go. Now, this is pre-announcement. Remember, the announcement is in quarter 4 when we get to find out the big reveal on who the partner is. So in the meantime, this is what I'm looking at. I'm watching this 50 and this 200. I'm looking for that crossover. I'm looking for a break above. And by the way, if you look at this, you can see we're just kind of in this range here. We broke out above. We didn't sustain. We came back in, and now we've broken out above one more time. This should change to the point where this right here and this right here are going to be out the window. Okay, we're not going to be using that right now because we've broken above, and it looks like we've got motivation to continue above. So big potential breakout happening here. So now we just got to get up into that range. If we look at it, by the way, on the 4 hour, here's what I want you to see. On the 4 hour, which is another good indicator, you can see here we got that break above. We got that rapid move there because because 4 hours is really a quick period of time. We kind of, the bad part about that is when you get that golden cross on the 4 hour, it's because it's a lagging indicator. It's a short-term indicator, so we're going to get that again, but it's going to be based on this actual move that we're already having. So when this crosses over, won't be as big a deal. When we get to the daily, that's when it becomes a big deal. So now we're looking for that crossover. Hopefully we get that again pretty soon. We get some escape velocity here. We get some really big movement, and maybe it breaks out. Now, let's talk about this, and this is where it gets into tell me where I've got a problem. Okay. It is July 24th, okay? This February 7th. Remember I told you I'm going to give you the good and I'm going to give you the bad. It is my belief, ultimately, that Devi goes to $50, okay? That's where my exit strategy begins, okay? Just to give you guys some clarity. But I'm going to hold thousands of Devi at the end because it is also my belief that Devi, once announced, is probably at least a top 10 coin, okay? And again, it's a token right now, but it will be a coin at that point. And if it's in this realm, if it's in this range, we're talking about, if it were to match Dogecoin, it would be worth $417 per coin. So I'm going to keep a few thousand Devi no matter what for that gigantic move. Now, just to give you guys some full disclosure, in the event that, let's just say that Devi went to the price of XRP. Now I'm doing a comparison at CoinGecko of what would happen if Devi went to the market cap of XRP. And that would be a $2,193. It's a 3,859x from where we currently are. So that's why I'm going to hold a lot of Devi despite having an exit strategy starting at $50. That's why I'm going to be holding it, because I think that it's going to go so much higher. And there is a possibility, I don't think it's great, but there is a possibility that all these things happen and they just kind of consolidate at one time and we see this thing rip to $200, $300. There is that possibility. Now that would be a 10 to 15 to 20 billion market cap. I'm not sure exactly where we land when all of this is, again, the bull market, all the variables are still part of it. So, I think that this ultimately is where we go. Now, back to the problems. February 7, Will Stewart joins. On February 7, by the way, let's be very, very clear. On February the 7th, Devi was trading at $1, closed at $1.06. Today it's trading at 58 cents. It's trading at 40 cents just a few short days ago, okay? So has Will Stewart really done anything so far to pump our bags? The answer to that is no. That doesn't mean that he hasn't done some very valuable stuff in the background in building the infrastructure. I said at one point that I don't think that DEVVE cares about the token at this point, and the reason for that is not because they don't actually care, but because that's not where their money is made. Their money is made by these partnerships and implementing everything for this chain, by making a business that's thriving. The end. That's what it's all about. So Will Stewart coming aboard, a big deal, but it didn't reflect partnership, okay? Or it didn't reflect any price action, right? The next one is a huge partnership in the upcoming joint announcement. Okay, what does upcoming mean to you? Because it's February 7, a huge partnership and upcoming joint announcement. It's February 7. Now, some of you might say, well, believes that's actually Bank Delubac from France, and nobody cares about that. That's a big thing for the crypto industry to have a bank that likes your project or your blockchain or something like that, but that's not moving a needle. That's not a huge partnership and an upcoming joint announcement, okay? Strong focus on Dev Exchange. Well, when is Dev Exchange going to be out? We've been talking about Dev Exchange for a long time. I'm going to show you something a little bit further to show you how far we're kicking this can down the road, and that's what annoys me. If there's anything that annoys me, is that we keep having these vague dates that just keep not happening, okay? And then the unlocking of exciting opportunities and new markets for all token holders. So what kind of update do we have for that? Okay, to show you what's going on, I am registered with the Dev Exchange, and by the way, there's a link in the description down below that you can sign up under me on the Dev Exchange for when it launches, and I've done every single one of the tasks. And what do I have to show for it? I have 925 experience, I have 55 raffle tickets, and I have 1 founder pack. What is that? I have no idea what it is to this date. And by the way, this is in February. So here we are today. I have no idea what it is. And by the way, if I want to put something, then here is my DEVVE wallet. And basically it just has all my Litcraft assets in it. Doesn't really have anything else because I haven't put anything in it. There's, different areas that I can do stuff with, but really just I have nothing in this wallet at this point. Now I could put funds in the wallet. I could do whatever. And again, I have just a bunch of items from Litcraft, but otherwise it's not doing anything for me. Like there's no like where's my upside? Where's my nothing so far. But again, this is in February that we're doing this, and we still don't have anything. So that gives me at least a cause for concern that we are moving so much slower and that we're going to miss the bull run. And by the way, that gives me anxiety, and I'll explain to you why in just one moment. Now, let's go back to 2024. This is an announcement from this team on August the 2nd of 2024. Big news from DEVVE. We're entering the final phase of launching the world's first hybrid non-custodial exchange. The final phase, you say? How long is a final phase? That's a fair question to ask. Okay, so I'm not concerned. Okay, I want to stress that. I'm not concerned, but I am annoyed by the fact that it's taking so long. Okay, that's where I'm operating from, just to be clear here, because I keep telling you this is my favorite thing while I'm saying these things. But I think it's important to be honest with you about what is happening here. Developed with top partners, this platform is a major leap in blockchain. Stay tuned for an upcoming platform demo and exciting announcements, and find out more on our Telegram and Medium. And where is that? Also, I mean, I don't know. we have roundups, we have different things here. And what I did, by the way, was Dev Ecosystem and Exchange to look for it. So now you have it. We've been hearing about this for a year now. We're in the final stages for a year. We bring in a wonderkind in Will Stewart, and we don't have an exchange. We've nothing to show for it other than sign up at the KCX, sign up at the exchange, and one day you're going to get something. So, and again, here's the roadmap. And what did we just do? We kicked this institutional exchange partner all the way to the end of 2025. Now, all of that's out of the way. So let's talk about what matters to you, okay? So price is sitting at 58 cents, but if I look at, if I were to just go, I actually have a brilliant way to do this. This is crypto in 1 year. Devi has been up 116% in 1 year. M87, 685%. So Devi is doing better. It's not doing as well as M87 or FLOG or some of these other ones, but it is when it's, when you compare it to some of this stuff, it's doing far better than Bone. It's doing far better than a lot of these. But as we start to move, Dog in a Ski Mask did 3,700%. We did 116. WXT, one of my partners, available up over there, is up 179%. Again, if you held any one of these versus Devi, you just won, and you can go buy even more DEVVE. ACT 2,500%, Metal 500%, XPR 400%. Swiftcoin close at 169%, Xano and SHX. But let's get up into some top ones here. 5,700%. Nero. This is the dog that replaced Kabosu for the young lady whose dog spawned Dogecoin, at least the image of Dogecoin. PDGC 2,000%, Aura 400%, Real 495%, Solo 336% in these top 200, XCN 900%, AB 18,000%, Cheems 6,800%, Snake 200%. Snake meme coin would have given you a better return. Trump meme coin, I think, actually might even give you a better return at this point. But SWI, if you held SWI right now, you'd be up 3x. You'd be able to buy 3 times as much DEVVE today as you would have been able to at the time. Not even to consider SPX 6,000%, Soros 17,000%, XLM 330%, BGB 293%, HBAR 258%, XRP 442%, XRP 442%. If you had $10,000 and you bought XRP a year ago, you would have $44,000 right now. You'd be able to buy 3 or 4 times as much DEVVE at this point as you would have been able to buy 1 year ago. Just let that sink in, just to give you an idea. So when you're dealing with people who are frustrated, it's because they see other projects being led by teams that are producing at a higher result on a speculative asset, by the way, but they're producing returns for you far superior to what you're getting from Devi right now. So you might be concerned. You might have some concern, and they're legitimate. It's legitimate for you to be concerned when you're not seeing your bag pump the way that you want to see it pump. When we zoom out, we still get a pretty decent idea here. If it's 1 year, then you're up 116%, so 2x. But XRP would have been a 4x. You would have so much more money. You know what I mean? Like you would be in such better, you'd be in so much of a better state if you had gone to XRP, HBAR, SWI, and you still be able to go out, have a huge profit, and go buy the same bag of DEVVE that you already had. So when we talk about frustration in the market, this is the reason, because the Devi team is not doing anything to pump your bag. And the roadmap, that's what's supposed to pump your bag right now, not actual stuff. Not actual stuff, okay? Because if we go back to that map, there's no real stuff that we're talking about. No real stuff. What we're talking about at this point is basically, again, so this right now, we're a speculative asset, and what we're going to release is not until the 4th. Now, there are some talks right now about moving away from monolithic, which is just one big exchange launch, to a more modular, partitioned sort of way of releasing it. So you might see device getting released. You might see a bunch of liquidity. You might see a bunch of things start to happen. You might see some stuff get kind of released out there into the wild. But what are we going to do with it becomes the question. What is it going to do to pump the chart? And that's the part that matters to most people. And to that, I say, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I do not have an answer for that. Again, unless DEVVE breaks right now. Look, if DEVVE doesn't break above 70 cents in the next 24 to 48 hours, it is my opinion that we're probably going to see 40 cents again, because this is, again, this is underwhelming. And by the way, when I say that, I'm going to close this out with some important stuff that you might not even consider as a trader. So every time you see a dump down here and you see a pump, that pump is not new investors coming in, okay? These pumps, generally speaking, are not brand new investors coming back in. It's the existing investors buying the dip, okay? Now, at some point, the existing investors, they run out of money. When they run out of money, this happens right here. And you see a flat line. You got this move, and then you got this move. Then you got this move down here, and then you got this big move up here. Then you got another this big move here. Then you got another this big move here, and they got quicker and quicker and quicker. And then you saw a flat line, basically, as it came down, 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 and you saw this little spike on anticipation of a roadmap, and then another spike on the actual roadmap being released, okay, or the anticipation of that roadmap actually coming out, which it actually did. But this right here, that's where you should be alarmed. That is that the existing investors who normally buy to pump the chart in the hopes of getting some people to see it positively, let's buy some more, let's make a few bucks off of it, and then they sell off when it pumps. Those people right now who were making that money right there, they stopped doing that. That's a lack of faith. That's what's happening. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody lost faith, but it means that their capital is starting to run dry. So it's going to take new eyes coming in that are going to pump it. And what I said before is, it's February. Will Stewart came in February. Will Stewart is a big name in institution. This is a guy who does miracles with different projects, but we haven't seen price action. So because he's a Web 2 guy going into Web 3, then it's made it a little bit more difficult for him to find a clear path, I'm sure, to bring new investors on. And also, let's not forget that DEVVE also has the Forever Foundation. The Forever Foundation could just be giving tokens away and diluting the price in the long term with long-term lockups, by the way. I'm not saying that they're going to dump on the chart or anything like that. But if money's coming in, nobody's putting it into where we want it to be. So ultimately, it is my belief that DEVVE is at a minimum a $50 project. I'm sure at this point that that's where it ends up. I'm sure of it to this point. The problem, again, is, what are we doing in the meantime? What's going on in the meantime? And I just gave you kind of a wrap up of all the good, all the bad, and all the ugly that's been going on. All of the, August of last year, February of this year, we've seen all kinds of different things like an announcement, a joint announcement. We've not seen anything from it. Now, tomorrow, there's going to be, and this is, I know this is a deep dive, and I know some of you are not going to like some of the things I say, but tomorrow, you're going to see an AMA with Tom, I think, and Austin, where they're going to go over a little bit more. And maybe, just maybe, a nugget or two is going to be gleaned from that. But if not, expect some more downside. Expect some more opportunity to accumulate. And then, whenever it happens, it happens. But I remain committed to the fact that I think that DEVVE is going to be the next big thing in crypto. And it's not really going to change based on anything that's happened so far. But I am underwhelmed so far with the roadmap. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right.